Back in 2009, when I was feeling ready to quit my full-time job doing marketing and sales for an IT training publisher and move into becoming a full-time direct response copywriter, I decided to go to AWAI's bootcamp and job fair. And at that job fair specifically, Clayton Makepeace had a stand set up for the total package for Clayton's daily email that he was doing at the time. And they were handing out this sheet of paper. It was an 11 by 17 piece of paper. And on it had a list of copywriting checklists. And specifically, I'm still following Clayton's recommendation. He says, hang these copywriting checklists by your computer and use them to rev up the power of your copy. Now, like a dozen plus years later, I'm still referring to this on occasion. And specifically the 20-point pretty darn good outline for copywriting. I use that to launch my copywriting career. I wrote my first $1 million promotions just following the steps of that. I've talked about it before. I'll include a link with this episode to an article where I actually share that 20-point outline. But on that piece of paper, there was a bunch of different checklists, and one of them was 16 dominant emotions to trigger for powerful copy. And Clayton was well known for emotional direct response copy, like hard-hitting emotional direct response copy. And I want to share that list of 16 emotions with you today. These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Roy Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough. Okay, before we dive into the list, reminder, today's episode, as usual, is sponsored by me. And specifically, I'm going to encourage you to check out two incredibly relevant pieces of training tied to today's episode. So BTMS Insiders, it's my training library for copywriting and marketing training where you pay one low fee, you get access to my entire catalog. So it's instant streaming access like Netflix, but for copywriting and marketing training. I'll include a link to that as well as to emotional direct response copywriting, which talks about how to capture and use emotions in your copywriting, in your marketing in order to generate more response. Also to my high velocity copywriting program, which is a higher overview of all of like the most important direct response copywriting principles. Covers way more than just emotions in copywriting. And specifically, there is a bonus with that program where I got permission from Clayton to teach. I actually taught his group, his mastermind, I taught them how I used his outline, and he said he was taking notes, and I got permission to also teach that to my folks. And so I did a bonus webinar for high velocity copywriting that includes a breakdown of that outline and how I've used it as a copywriter. And that is inside high velocity copywriting. The links are in the description to all of that. Remember, you just pay one low fee, you get access to everything. So the list, I'm going to go through them fairly quickly here because 16 is a long list. I'm going to go through them, but these are 16 strong emotions that can make your copy stronger. The thing about this is if you think back to Eugene Schwartz in Breakthrough Advertising, he says, you cannot manufacture desire in a market. All that you can do is channel it. You also can't really manufacture emotion in a market or in your prospect, but what you can do is you can tap into dominant emotions that exist in your market and you can channel those towards your offer. And these are 16 powerful emotions that you can use to write more powerful copy. So anger. We're angry at things. Like people are angry at things. Man, people are angry at things. By the way, I'm going to say this up front. Please use this ethically, honestly. Please use this for the good of humanity. Like I don't want you to go off and use this to like manipulate a market into just terrible stuff. But if you have something that can truly improve people's lives, make their lives better, make the world a better place, that's honest and ethical, you can use these. In fact, it is your responsibility to use these to fulfill getting that product, that service, that offer out into the marketplace to make the world a better place, to make your prospects' lives better. So anger, what are they angry at? And how can you, in aligning yourself with that anger, direct them towards a positive outlet? Betrayal. If your prospect feels betrayed, they want to take action. A lot of these, like, there are emotions that stimulate action and there are emotions that stimulate us to shut down. And if you can tie in the emotional experience that is motivating action. So, for example, somebody feels betrayed. They want to get back at that. They want their comeuppance. They want to overcome that betrayal, right? So how can you tap into that in order to motivate them to whatever action is in alignment with your product, your service, your offer? Revenge. Again, like so many of these, please be ethical. I'm thinking about a Gary Bensavinga headline, Lies, 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 and it's talking about all these people lying to you. And he says, but getting rich is the best revenge. I love that as a way to tap into the revenge emotion. Fear. What are people afraid of? And how can you help alleviate them of that fear? Frustration. Man, if I'm frustrated about something, I want to find a solution, and that can be a great motivator to buy something. Greed. Greed shows up definitely in a lot of investment pitches, a lot of get-rich pitches, etc. It is not so simple as I just want money. There's usually multiple layers of emotion involved there. And the deeper you can get into the different layers of emotion, the more powerful it will be. But people respond to things because they are greedy. Happiness. We have this infinite, unending desire for happiness. And especially when it's lacking, we will move to achieve to find happiness. Hope. People, there's this unending wellspring of hope for a better day, a better tomorrow, a better relationships, better health, better wealth, better whatever. And we have this hope to achieve this. How can you tap into that with your messages? Love and caring. Like that feeling of love that somebody already has for somebody, for something in their life. How can that be reflected in whatever your message is that you're trying to get across? Passion. We have passion for people. We have passion for things. How can you tie passion into your message? Like, what is your prospect passionate about? What passion do they want to experience? How can you give that to them? Relaxation. Now, these are ones that I do suggest. There's a couple of them here that I want you to be careful with, because if you get someone too relaxed, they're not likely to want to take action, right? Like, your goal of your marketing is not necessarily to get someone relaxed, it's to get them agitated. But the end goal that they may be trying to get to is relaxation. So, for example, you take an entrepreneur who is working like 70-hour weeks. They thought they were creating a business, but really they created two jobs for themselves as both the owner and the operator of their business. They're feeling completely overwhelmed. They're feeling like they can't take their foot off the gas. How can you offer them relaxation? How can you offer them an escape from that? So that's an example of that. Sadness. Sadness is another very powerful emotion that can lead to people shutting down. So what can you do in your messaging that both taps into that and acknowledges that, but also lifts them up into a place where they are ready to take action? Security. We buy things to have security. We buy things to protect ourselves. We buy things to have financial security, to have security, like from physical security. Buy things to have security in all sorts of ways. Shame. Shame is immensely, immensely powerful. I once heard Perry Marshall call it the original emotion because of the story of Adam and Eve. This feeling that we're not good enough as we are, that our part of ourself needs to be hidden, that needs to be protected from other people, from the world, and that it won't be accepted. That is an incredibly powerful feeling. That's another one that if you hit it in the wrong way, you're just going to have your prospect be, a withering pile of ill feeling on the floor. And so you have to be careful with it. It is also a huge motivator to get people to take action, to do things. Powerlessness. To give power to the powerless is an incredibly strong motivator and something that your prospect will respond to. If they feel powerless, you giving them power, you giving them a sense of power can make a huge difference in terms of their willingness to take action. Also, urgency. We talk about urgency a lot in marketing. It is an emotion. There are many different facets of urgency. So one could just be a deadline to your offer or a limited quantity or something like that. But there's also other elements that create urgency, such as market conditions or personal events in their life. If somebody is preparing for something to happen, let's say their kids to go off to college, there's an urgency there that creates a lot of emotion. So think broadly about how you can use urgency. So that was 16. One thing that I want to add that I go deep into in my emotional direct response copywriting training is that all of these, we think negative emotions, we think positive emotions, but all of them kind of exist on a negative to positive spectrum. And so I'll just take one of them, like from greed. Greed could be an example of if somebody is feeling really broke, if they're feeling without resources, if they're feeling like all of this feeling of like, they can't make ends meet. There's that negative aspect of greed. That's the extreme negative aspect of greed, of feeling like perpetually broke, generationally broke. You come from just people who've never had any money and you just want to have what other people have. And then there's like the filthy rich lucre of like, oh, I made a fortune. I can just be rich. I can flaunt my richness, whatever. And that's a completely different end of the greed spectrum. And so if you're playing into greed, acknowledging that there's this negative, I don't have it situation, and there's this positive, like I have a ton of it situation, that are all part of greed. And every single one of these emotions is on this spectrum of moving away from negative and toward positive. And if you can capture that movement is the movement that leads your prospect to buy things. And so when you think about dominant emotions, it's not just about the emotion itself. It is the movement from negative to positive on that emotional spectrum. And if you want to go deeper, remember, you can check out the links in the description to emotional direct response copywriting, my training that actually goes into that negative to positive, that movement, and covers a few additional lessons that will help you become a more effective emotional direct response copywriter. Also the high velocity copywriting with the 20-point copywriting outline. It's like, it goes deep into that, and it goes deep into so much more. It goes deep into the 3 big idea types, my upscene test. It goes into writing different types of copy. It goes into some productivity strategies for copywriters. Man, it covers a lot. So all of that is included when you sign up for BTMS Insiders. You just pay that one low fee, you get instant access to the entire catalog of training for copywriters and marketers. So I'll include links to that. I'll also include a link to the article that in the PS has a link to download the PDF of that original piece of paper that I got from Clayton. So I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. With every episode, I aim to increase your marketing genius, one episode at a time, every single day, just a little bit better. And if you use more emotion in your marketing, no matter if you're marketing business to consumer, business to business, it's still humans that have emotions and actually, in fact, make decisions based on emotions. I heard some research recently that people who had the emotional center of their brain cut off were unable to make decisions. So if somebody says that they're not emotional, they just don't know. They're not in touch with their emotions. Our brains make decisions in the emotional center of our brains. If we don't have access to that emotional center of our brains, we can logic and we can reason all day long, but we can never make a decision. So understanding, regardless of who you're selling to or what their role is, or if they're representing a company or they're not making a decision outside of their emotional center. And so understanding emotional copywriting, even if it looks a little bit different in implementation for selling to businesses, selling to consumers, whatever, it will make you a better copywriter. It will increase your marketing genius. So check out the links in the description. One more time, I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, and I'll catch you again in the next episode. Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.